about some controversial issues. We don't want you to think that we're targeting an individual person of a denomination, but we're just making known some information that's already out there, that's being looked at, and there's a lot of discussion surrounding it. So I want you to welcome again Andre Belous. And I'm glad that you're here.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if you're going to come back. We were wondering, but you are my co-host, so I guess you have to come back sooner or later.
Back, you know?
And then I want you to come back because there were some things that we needed to find out about this deal with the Pope.
Yep.
It sounded pretty intriguing. The Pope getting arrested, the Pope resigning, and news about allegations, and that's what they are right now. They say that they're allegations. And so we are asking people, what do you make of this? Is this meaning that the world is coming to an end? The Pope hasn't stepped down in centuries, since that has never happened in centuries. And so what's going on, Andre? What's the new development? And can you justify some of the things that you have said?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay, so we're going to listen. We're going to interject some questions. We want to find out. We're very anxious to find out.
All right, so the biggest things what I want to say thanks to is to people who invented internet. Okay, because of the internet right now, that's why this information spreads around the globe so much faster. That's why governments cannot hide the information so much, because of this internet and sharing. So since development in the last 20 years of the internet, we now got more knowledge. So before we had too many conspiracy theories because we could not connect the dots. Now there is so much enough search around the world where you can connect the dots, because a lot of people been working on certain issues. But if you learn all that knowledge, what they learn, and put them together, then you have a bigger picture. So let's talk about what's going on with Catholic Church and the papacy right now. Well, the Pope right now is resigning. Everybody thinking, oh, he's just resigned because he got a brain cancer.
Wait a minute, now this is a fact. He's resigned.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so that's not untrue.
Nope, it's not untrue.
You're not making that one up.
Nope.
All right, okay.
So now, when the last time we made the show, we didn't even know about the arrest of Pope at that moment. So,
that's true.
But then at the same day when we put it on, that's when it came up as news what there is arrest. And there is actually, from the International Court of State and Religion, is they issue on the March 4th, actually, the warrant will be issued. Right now, they have the order, they're already guilty, and they are supposed to spend 25 years in jail for genocide in Canada of killing thousands of kids.
Okay, now let me say now, does this expression, does this warrant have any teeth to it? Is it really effective? Is it going to really cause the Pope to be put in some type of bondage? Is this a real bona fide arrest?
Well, I think internationally it is. It's in the United States. It's not going to have as much bite as it's going to have in the European Union, because that's what the whole international courts is in Brussels, and that's where they're from. So that's going to be a bigger fight there than over here. In the United States, of course, the papacy, or the Vatican Inc., I should say that's how it's called. Mm-hmm. They do have a lot of possessions around, and especially those possessions are dispersed between the few banks, which is collectively called Vatican Bank or Institute for Religious Work. And I'll show you just a little list over here of some of the banks.
While you're getting that together,
yeah.
And what I want to know is this. Okay, you can give it to me, and I'll put it up while you're talking. What I want to know is this. Okay, if this happens, what do you think the reaction of the United States might be in all of this? Because what I'm thinking is that if this is true. If this is true, shouldn't they be involved, since they seem to be the police?
They're not going to be involved in the.
Now, what will we be looking at?
Well, what we're going to be looking at is for United States to let the Vatican kind of be on its own, and see if they can sort this out. Because I don't think there is even in the prophecy, if we talk about Revelation 17 at the verse 16 and 17, it talks about what there should be. The 10 kings which will receive the kingdom with the beast, they will the one who will hate the whore, and they will the one who will make you desolate, naked, and burn you with fire. So
Right,
it's going to
okay.
start inside the European Union.
Okay.
And it's going to, the beast power is going to be watching it because everybody gave the power to the beast now.
Okay, so now what are we looking at now? Am I holding up the right
This
paper?
this is the list of the Vatican banks up to here.
Maybe
this
you
is
can
what
read
it's
it.
made of. It's a
No,
I can read it. It's a Chase Manhattan Bank, Rothschild's Bank, Banker Trust and Hambros Bank, Credit Suisse, Morgan Bank, First National Bank of New York, Bank of di Roma, Banco di Santo Cinto. I don't know how to read the rest of them, so I'm just going to post them and you read it for yourself on the screen. So this is the bank. What's they originally collectively was in Vatican Bank.
Okay, and
That's just
basically the same.
the same things. But what it
Okay.
shows here is how these banks was established in 1600s, 1500s, and what they've done, they caused the big collapses in different countries, and they would go and merge with the failing banks.
Okay.
Okay, and then take them over, and then they start doing business as those banks.
Wow.
So now that's how we got to pretty much to our time, where's the Goldman Sachs, the Morgan Stanley, those only few banks who controls everything around this
Well, I
United
guess
States.
if you say they've
Around
been
the world.
around since 1500, that's a long time ago. I didn't know they had banks then.
Well, yeah, they did actually. I mean, some of them was 1600s, made by popes, in their names. It's interesting. I'm studying more and more. I just finally got the list of those banks, so I can go and pretty much
All right,
do my
well-
own due diligence
Right.
and find and connect the dots.
Right,
And
right,
those banks are actually right now is the one who got the TARP money.
Right. Okay.
They're the one who was rescued. They're the one who created the problem. By creating the problem, what's I mean? They manipulated Libor.
Okay.
Okay, which is pretty much the index which affect every single person who pays any kind of interest payments on anything.
Wow. Now that's crazy. I know we're touching on a lot of things.
We
at
do.
home,
We need
so-
to talk
so
about
you,
them.
you may be confused at times. But we're going to iron all this out. We're going to get it out straight for you. So just bear with us.
Yep. So the Libor scandal was manipulated by the banks to create distress in the countries.
Okay.
Whereas the whole countries would start default. I mean, the citizens of that country would start defaulting on their loans. What they've done, they created the credit default swaps, on which point they are interesting for you to default. Because if you default, they will make more money. First, they're going to steal whatever it is. If it's a mortgage, they will steal your house, and they will also make claim to the credit default swap and receive payments from them. Now, not only do they going to get 100% payments on it, if they split up the trust into the, let's say, 8 or different pieces and sold it to 8 different trusts, they will make 100% claims on it. And believe it or not, no, you believe it. Type it in on a Google search. $75 trillion was just pushed by Bank of America from one account to another, from derivatives, to put it on the U.S. taxpayers. So now we only owe $16 trillion in the whole budget. All of a sudden, just the Bank of America transferring $75 trillion to their accounts, which will have to be paid by FDIC. If that's not pissing you off enough, man, then I don't know what would. This scandal of credit default swaps with Libor, it's at least $550 trillion. It's really very, very difficult to put how much money it is, but it's affecting every single person.
Amount of money, right? Okay.
It is. And that's how they do it right now. They're trying to distress the governments to make them make tougher rules to collect more taxes. But in reality, they created the insurance claim, fraudulent insurance claim, and they're the one who caused the damages.
Okay, so
and I want you to start actually.
You're tying all this back to the Pope now.
Oh, that's why I want you to take a look. So now, this is another.
Should I read it? I'll just read it.
Yeah, just read it, whatever is highlighted and
I'll
what it
read
was
it.
printed by.
Okay.
This was Washington Post.
This is Washington Post, so this is a bona fide Post thing.
Yeah, so
Pope struggle to lift sacred secrecy of Vatican finances. So what you've been saying since last week before this came to the Washington Post You've been saying this. Okay, inside a 13th century monastery in a sleepy village north of Rome, the Reverend Salvatore Plumombo was allegedly serving more than one higher authority. Italian prosecutors say a Ferrari-driven lawyer who defrauded insurance companies used the priest as a frontman, with Palumbo stashing the illicit cash inside the secretive Institute for Works of Religion. Well,
you happy now? That's just it.
Well, you know what? We challenged you last time to bring the proof, and you have brought the proof. So, I mean, the Washington Post is a pretty bona fide thing. Let me read this also.
Yeah, go ahead.
On Friday, the Pope backed a decision by a commission of cardinals to name Ernst von Freiberg to head the Vatican Bank. The German-born lawyer and member of the ancient Knights of Malta.
Oh, here we go.
Was selected. Okay. Andre, I don't know where you get this stuff. It's very hard to believe, but you fit the coin, believe it or not. Vatican say because of his vast experience. However, Italian commentators were quick to question why the choice was not left to the incoming Pope. That's amazing. I got to read all of this stuff. This is
so here is another article from the Nonprofit Quarterly.
All right.
And just read the thing and then...
At the Vatican, the most secretive nonprofit bank in the world. Now, this is someone different.
Yeah, so go ahead on
because the accusation was that maybe this was one website that was saying this, but these are bona fide people that are talking about this. It says, let me start it from the...
Well, it's pretty much talks about the...
Yeah, let me get that sentence. The homicide case remains a mystery. On the scandal front, the Vatican Bank was recently in the news following the arrest of an Italian priest and a Ferrari-driven lawyer who have been charged with defrauding insurance companies and using the Vatican Bank to hide the loot. That's just what you said. So, I mean, he's been arrested. Okay,
well, it's nothing.
All right, okay. Ernest von Freiberg, that's the name, a German lawyer, member of the Knights of Malta, and the founder of a family foundation, Freiberg Stiftung, which supports Catholic groups in Germany, Austria, and France. Wow.
Okay, here go next one.
This is all amazing. You've done your homework, so I'm not going to... I cannot argue with CNN. Somebody said, well, if we don't see it on CNN, then it's not happening. So now I'm going to read this from CNN. The Italian authorities on Friday arrested 8 people in possession of an estimated, my goodness, $6 trillion in counterfeit U.S. Treasury bonds. United States Treasury bonds in Italia. Treasury bonds, according to Italian paramilitary police and an Italian news agency. The discovery of the fake bonds made to look as if they were printed by the United States Federal Reserve in 1934 came about as part of an investigation into a local mafia association. The arrest order for the alleged criminals was issued by a preliminary investigative judge in the southern Italian city of Potenza, police noted. Italian authorities working with the Swiss counterparts learned about the counterfeit bonds by way of eavesdropping on wiretapped phones, police said. The total of $6 trillion is more than twice Italy's national debt. The Italian news agency, man, that's a lot of money for one individual, isn't it? When you talk about a nation like Italy's, that's not funny, but it's funny. The Italian news agency ANSA reported that the bonds were also discovered along copies of the Treaty of Versailles rolled inside lead cylinders. So this is CNN.
This is CNN. So now let's summarize a little bit. So all of a sudden, Vatican Bank is involved in a insurance Ponzi scheme, and the way they hide their loot, it says through the Vatican Bank. So they use all these different banks, Bank of America, JP Morgan, all of those banks. Okay, they're all part of the Vatican Bank. They are the one who they're not the one who did the loans. They created a different mortgage companies, and they loan usually to them the line of credits. So they gave them a credit, and those mortgage companies gave the loans to the people. So first of all, they used borrowed money, and then they did loans. Then those mortgage companies default, and they go away, and the bigger banks are start swooping those banks and merging with them and collecting together and making claims to the insurance company, since right now there's no limitations during this Glass Act already been passed. You know, now the insurance company and banks can be the same.
Right.
So they just do an inside trading inside their own company and making insurance claims against the defaults what they cause to people and laundering money to the Vatican.
Wow, that's such a sophisticated scheme to me. I mean, but to them it's not. I mean, you know, it's very interesting.
Well,
okay,
I want
so
you to read something which is I got from CIA.
Okay, this is the CIA.
So
Okay.
look at this dates.
Okay.
There was
correspondent dated October 17, 2007. Is that the one you
Go
want to
ahead,
read?
yeah.
Okay.
Read who participated in that.
U.S. Treasury, these are the participants. U.S. Treasury, Henry Paulson, involving mortgage reconstruction, just like you said. And the copies.
2007.
The copies go to the following. Pope Benedict. Oh my goodness. What is Pope Benedict? That's not funny, but it is funny. 16th, restructuring team, Italy. Archdiocese of Detroit, Cardinal Adam Maida, George W. Bush, President of the United States, J.P. Morgan Chase and Company, attention James Diamond, World Bank headquarters, Paul Wolfowitz, Federal Reserve headquarters, attention Ben Bernanke, International Monetary Fund, Washington, D.C., European Union Directorate General for Economic and Financial Affairs. Boy, wouldn't you like to be buddies with those guys?
No,
Man, you
get
a lot of money, though.
No.
Now, in Belgium, man, they control all the diamonds, too. Brussels, Belgium, in 2007, $150 billion was allocated to start global structuring. European Union divided the funds between Bank of America, Citigroup, and J.P. Morgan Chase, as evidence shows the banking industry still collapsed.
So which day did they receive the?
October 17, 2007.
So when did the economy fell down?
Oh,
2008.
Right.
So somebody already knew and was working on it?
Oh, yeah, sure did.
Please show these documents, both sides.
Wait, let me see something else. Well, we're going to show this.
I'll post it, actually.
I'll post it, okay. Correspondent dated October 19, 2007, addressed to Henry Paulson, Secretary of U.S. Treasury in the United States regarding the mortgage restructuring, and J.P. Morgan Chase. No funds were ever allocated for global restructuring. So they never
stole it yet.
Correspondence was also addressed to Pope Benedict the 6th. That's the one that's sitting there now.
Bye-bye.
That's why he's resigning. Okay, okay.
So there's a lot more.
There's a lot of, you know what, the evidence is strong. Like if I'm in court, I don't know if this is kind of hard to.
But it's some attorneys just don't want to believe it, and look at this. This case can never be adjudicated by any judge who is Catholic or any other denominations which came from Catholics.
Right.
So now please read this document as the...
Right. Because it would make sense because they would automatically be biased.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So now please read what this Cardinal Ratzinger, who is our Pope right now, said in 2000.
We Catholics are the mother church and our Protestant daughters are harlots.
Here you go.
He said that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No, this one.
Let me read that again. We Catholics are, I like that part. I want to read that part again. We Catholics, this is the Pope saying, we Catholics are the mother church and our Protestant daughters are harlots. Revelation 17:5. It must always be clear when the expression sister churches is used in this proper sense that the one holy Catholic and apostolic universal church is not sister but mother of all the particular churches. Cardinal Ratzinger.
That's our current Pope who's resigning. And he said it's on September 5th of 2000.
Yeah, on Tuesday, September 5th of 2000, the Vatican made publicly a strong worded document titled Dominus Iesus, which affirmed the long-held Catholic doctrine that only the Roman Catholic Church is the true Church of Christ, excerpt from Dominus Iesu.
So this is important. So for everybody else, I'm not the one who's calling you.
Well, I'm glad
you false churches. But every single church which came from Catholics, Baptists, Seventh-day Adventists, anybody.
Right.
It's all of them. They are right now corporations. They're running as corporations. They are no friend of people, period. Right. They just doctrinate you. The very, very upsetting news, really start developing from 2000, is about Seventh-day Adventists.
Right.
Because they were the one who was given the last knowledge about the last three angel news. But all of a sudden, I noticed the books, like Great Controversies, start being edited. And anything which to talk about Catholic Church being removed. Then I find out our previous General Conference director was a Jesuit. So now
how do you find out all this?
Man, I got connections. You know I do.
I'm amazed because this is awesome. I'm looking at this and I'm also in this book, believe it or not. But it's there. It's real.
I've been saying that for
years. This will be posted so that people can see it, because I wouldn't have believed it. I was wondering what you were going to bring tonight. And I'm very convinced. I can't refute any of this because the man is saying it himself. Okay, but go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing is for us to understand, what are we going to do about it?
Right, okay, that's the question.
People right now are like, oh yeah, of course, so no, the Pope is the biggest one. Well, of course, it's the biggest RICO organizations on earth. Why would you just read the correspondence about restructuring the economy around the globe, and Pope receives it, one of the first person who receives it.
That's amazing.
And this information goes to Interpol. So all of a sudden, Interpol has its own people, who directly goes right away to the Pope and tell them. So no matter what kind of information you put it up, the Pope always knows.
Right. So it's like in your face anyway, because who's gonna bring him to adjudication?
And then look at this: all the Supreme Court justices, every one of them are Catholic.
Is that right?
So what am I supposed to tell you now? Well, sorry, you're being deceived. That's all I can say. It's nothing else I can say good to them. You should.
That's amazing.
The history is what I talked to one lawyer, and he was like, man, well, we cannot just prove the prophecies, man. There is nothing we can do. I said, what you mean? The history cannot be changed. Whatever they happen in the history, whatever the show I'm making right now, it's already going to be in the history in just a few minutes,
Right,
as soon as I said it becomes history. I can't change what I said, and especially when it talks about somebody, like in 1812, let's say, somebody started the war. I can't change that.
Right.
Who financed the war? Oh, the England. Really, the England gave the money to the American people, and then at the same time, England is the one who sends their ships to Louisiana to start the war. So not only did they give you Americans, the money to fight, and they also create the party who you're gonna fight with. So you're gonna spend your money, and then either you're gonna lose by the war,
right,
or they're gonna withdraw and say, well, just pay up.
Right.
You lost by default.
Right.
And that's what's happened in 1913 when the Federal Reserve was established and people had to be slaves from now on. That's what's happened in the United States right now. Every single person, they think they're free, but they're slaves.
Now this is real answers from real people. So but you've given us a partial answer as to what an individual, collectively, what should we do? So now the personal question is, what should an individual do after receiving this information? What do we do with this? I
would stop paying any money to any banks who participate in Vatican, period. You have to dispute every single one of the payments you make, because it's all subject to Libor Scandal, which is already proven. And the banks paid billions of dollars as a fine, just to try to shut it up. But as long as we can keep talking about it, keep raising this issue, they can't settle anymore.
Right.
There's somebody going to have to be prosecuted. Okay.
Well, now the question is then: are all of the banks vulnerable to this? Since they must somehow, they're going to probably wind up going through those major banks. From one point or another, they're going to either invest in them, they're going to either channel their money through them, because when you're talking in terms of billions, and that's what banks do, I don't see them sidestepping JP Chase Morgan and
I would
and,
start with the credit.
What do we do? Put it in our pockets and
Well, yes, it's much better bank. If you put it in a glass jar, it'd be a better bank than you give it to the bank. You know,
I'm almost beginning to feel that way because the banks have invented ways of
they'll steal your money. They know how much money you have, and they will do some kind of scheme, and they'll send those front row priests to you to come to you. That's what one of the biggest things we really need to talk about. Just think, they use religion to begin with, works of religion. So they send the pastors or anybody else, try to induce you or give you idea, why don't you refinance your house? Well, all of a sudden you just heard it from the pastor. But you should refinance the fact. That was influenced by religion, not by the facts or anything else, because you had so much trust in that fake pastor or whatever it is.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he sends you to his buddy, who's going to give him some kind of cut later on, no matter what. It could be in donations to the church or anything else, okay? So you go to him and you made a loan, and all of a sudden that few years later you defaulted on that loan, and now you lost everything you invested in your house. Who are you going to blame?
Right.
You got to really, separate the religion and state, and that's what I'm trying to figure it out. How are we going to separate that? Every transaction which was initiated by any kind of religious entity, it could be pastor, which is like in my case, I had one of the pastors approaching my wife, who was not my wife at that time, and told her what he should use him because he's going to do her right and everything else, and then later on find out what he screwed up everything on purpose just to make sure what he makes more money.
Well, that's really some. I don't know. That's amazing discoveries. That's all I can say. It's an amazing thing.
They will happen.
I'm still almost at a loss as the people on the bottom of the totem pole, the poor people. What are they supposed to do? I mean,
cut their cash flow. That's the only thing you can do. I mean, they are trying to steal everything.
How do you cut your cash flow?
Their cash flow, not your cash flow. What you do, let's say what I've done since 2007, since I found out all this information, the first things I did is, I sent a dispute letter to every single thing I ever paid. Period. It was a credit cards.
Okay, we're going to have to explain that one.
Well,
too.
It's under,
a dispute letter.
It's a Fair Debt Collection Practicing Act. It's 15 USC 1692G is the statute, and it gives you the rights to validate. So they say you owe, let's say, $1,000. Well,
right.
How do you know for sure? Since all these scandals happened,
oh my goodness,
how do you really know what it's $1,000? What if it's 999.999? You got to be accurate, especially if you trust the banks.
Well, so yeah, go ahead.
Okay? So now you send them a dispute letter saying, please verify what you have. They will do just a goofy stuff. They'll send you some kind of piece of papers saying, "Oh, we verified it internally, and you're supposed to pay this."
So then,
and if people don't know, they'll say, "Oh, they just answered. What am I going to do now?" Well, is it satisfactory to you or not? Did you really have the proof? How did they come up with it? So what you do, you send this stuff back to them and write on it, refuse for the cause without dishonor, and send it back. Say, give me more information. We refuse for the cause without dishonor.
Now, what does that mean?
Well, you pretty much refusing their documents for the cause, because there is an issue what's in your head or your knowledge, okay? Without dishonor means you're not dishonoring the payment. You just want to find out and make sure what you're paying the right
they have to validate it properly.
Of course, they're not doing it.
No,
the army of attorneys are trying to
Well, what would
fight
be
this.
a validation, or is it impossible for them?
Affidavit from them. It would be an validation. If somebody would come and say, well, let's say if I borrow money from you, and I would try to validate, I would say, borrow from you $20, you would go, if we'll end up in court, you would have to say and give the affidavit of accountant or something, say, well, it's Andre Belous borrowed $20 from me. That would be something to go by, affidavit. Instead, they send you a piece of papers with no signatures on it. Unless it's an affidavit, there is no validations. But if there is a valid affidavit, then you can contest. How did you know? Who were you? Were you authorized? Did you know about it? If your brother will write a letter for you saying an affidavit, or you borrow from Charlie, how do you know? That's the whole thing, It's this banking system right now established. They can hide stuff behind the corporate veil.
But wouldn't the court stand behind them
Courts
if you
make money.
Right.
The judges have what it's called 408k. That's like 401k,
right?
But it's 408k. And the bankers actually, they put in so much money per each case they bring in front of the judge.
Right.
So the judge always interested in giving the ruling for the banks.
Right.
First of all, most of the judges, what I know, they are either Jesuits, Masons, or any other associations with the Masonic temple. I mean, it's a fact because I know my stuff and I know what's.
I know you don't
because they interesting in helping banks.
Okay.
And it's been going on for years, for generations, and you got to understand. They've been doing this scam for generations, and never in their wildest dream they thought, "But we all of a sudden going to figure this out because it's so complicated."
Okay.
But we are starting to figure it out. But because our brain is so big, we can see far.
Right.
And that's one of the things which I read in the secret covenant of Illuminatis, what they are afraid because they know we can see so far, and the way we see far is by Bible prophecy. The Bible prophecy, which taught me when I was 19 years old, saying was in the very end time, Vatican, which is the whore, they call themselves, the mother of the heart, is the one who actually going to be destroyed by the New World Order.
I have a Bible here.
Yeah.
Point to the Bible prophecy.
Revelation 17.
Yeah, let me see what that is that you're referring to, and put it up. Okay, we're gonna put this up, and then this is about all the time we have for. It's a very in-depth Bible here.
Where is the right there? Okay.
Yeah, and then
so the first of all things.
Text here. Let me see if.
Well, I'll post the text in the video.
Okay. All right. Well, you won't be able to see it.
Yeah, I'll post it.
But we'll get it posted. Just read it.
Well, first of all, the Revelation 17, you have to understand who is it written by. It's written by one of the 7 angels who will have the wrath on the people already. Okay. So when these things you will see, the judgment of the whore, you already know what the plagues are here. Okay. They're in a very, very, various stages, but they are here. Okay. So this is how it begins the 17, okay? Okay. Then it gets to the chapter, to the verse 16 and 17.
Yeah, we
and the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, those shall hate the whore, and shall make you desolate and naked, and shall eat your flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put into their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom into the beast, until the word of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is the great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. I just read you documents.
Where's the city? What does it say?
It says, and the woman which you saw is the great city which reigns over the kings of the earth.
So it's a city.
It's a city, and it talks about.
Let me have that.
Before that, it talks about it sits between 7 mountains, 7 heads. It means mountains. So the city of 7 mountains is Rome.
Okay. Well, so I want you before, because I know you can really bring us into depth on that. I want you to come back on another show, because we have to let people chew on this that we've just discovered today, and then we're going to do some identification so that we can maybe really pinpoint this person on another angle from the biblical point of view. Because if it's in the Bible, then that means God's justice is about to come forth. Yeah,
it will. But let's point it out. While we're talking about the Bible, I want to point it out one real big thing. Bible is not the only thing.
About 30 seconds. I'll let you read.
Bible is not the book which was written by the finger of God. The only thing what's God ever written was the 10 Commandments.
Right. Okay.
Every single book was written by man. Okay. The Bible was put up in 1335 in Nicaea. There was a big conference there where they sent a bunch of bishops for almost 18 months and told them, you have to come up with a book so we can control the religions. And that's how they come up with 66 books. And they left so many other books on purpose from the Bible. And then they created tradition, which people believe what the Bible is written by the word, by the finger of God. And it's tradition. It's Bible. I love the Bible. I'm not going to argue about it. Bible is the holy book, but it's not written by the finger of God, and it's not the only book which can give you
You're talking about
knowledge.
the Bible as we know.
Yes. Bible gives us knowledge in there. It says everything what we learn, we need to filter it. And the filter is in Isaiah 8:20. It says, if it doesn't speak according to the law and to the testimony, there is no light in them. Everything needs to be controlled.
We're gonna really have to have you come back, and we're gonna go into detail on that, and we're gonna tie it all into what we've read today, because we're living in a time of where trust is a big word, time is a big word, and time, trust, and thought on these things. Everything is happening right now, and so, because trust is very scarce, and so is time, we're going to look at what the Bible gives us thought on these themes. And I use a lot of T's. We're going to have a lot of T's when we come back. Time, thought, and trust. Okay? We want you to think on those things while you're waiting for our next show. So we're glad that you joined us today. And as you can see, it takes a lot, but you must either do one or the other, believe it or not. And this is not Believe It or Not. This is Friends of Justice, and we're talking with a real person with a real answer, and that's Andre Belous on today. Thank you.
Thank you.